The movie starts up with David stopping his car at the driveway of his recently bought house. His grown-up daughter is helping her dad move. As they wander around the spacious home, David and his daughter discover a locked door within a closet. David and his daughter also discover a $100 bill on the ground of the closet out of nowhere, but they do not pay much attention. They buy dinner utilizing that money. As they both eat Chinese food, David thanks his daughter for helping him move into his new house. She reacts that it's not a big deal, and confesses to her dad that she has been dating a guy for a while now, and wants David to meet this guy because it's a serious matter to her. The spotlight of the conversation returns to David, who cheerfully informs his daughter that he might be getting a promotion and a salary raise. David works in a programming company, concentrated on developing video games. With his new salary raise, David reassures his sick daughter that he will pay for her blood thinners, as her insurance and savings are insufficient to cover the medication. Later dinner, David suggests having a little slumber party next week, but she rejects. She tells David that she has plans with her boyfriend that weekend, but she will attempt to come over with her boyfriend within the week. On her way home, the daughter calls her boyfriend. She expresses her concern about her dad's circumstance, with him constantly wanting to have company over. She thinks that her dad is unwell after his divorce. The attending day, David wakes up from a car honking made by the landscaper. David goes out and tells him that he wasn't presumed to be on the property till the afternoon. The landscaper doesn't apologize for the sudden visit, and rather explains that he wants to take a good look at what needs to be done in the yard. He starts taking notes of what David wants, but he disagrees nonchalantly when David tells him he will put his own septic tank. Nevertheless, the landscaper has no power over David's decision, so he informs David that he will be back in a week, with everything needed to tilt and plot his yard. After that, the landscaper leaves the property, and David answers a phone call from his best friend. Subsequently, David and his friend sit by the pool, where David shares his plan to put his own septic tank. The friend doesn't think it's a good idea as it's a professional's work. But David has his psyche to work on it. David changes the subject, and tells his friend that he took out a mortgage to buy the house, because he's confident he will get the promotion and the salary raise. Immediately after the friend leaves, David starts working on putting in his own septic tank by digging. In less than a minute of digging, the shovel hits something hard. When David removes the soil, he finds a humongous box. He lifts up the lid, and instantly drops it after seeing an old man's corpse, concurrently with a bunch of money. David lifts the lid again to check it just to be sure, and there are indeed hundreds of dollars inside the box beside a dead man's body. David lifts the lid for the third time, and takes a bundle of money. David then buries the box again with the soil, before refunding to the house. He takes a pen, and marks the $100 bills to check. Upon seeing the yellowish mark, David is left astounded as if they are real. Although surprised, David hides the money bundle in the restroom medicine cabinet. Later that night, David wakes up after hearing the faint sound of footsteps approaching. He gets out of bed and checks it out. But there's no one or anything, and he's all alone. The attending day, David's boss shows David the project manager's office, which will be his if he gets the promotion. The boss offers David a few personal days off, since he's dealing with the new hurdles in his life because of his divorce, but David refuses. David leaves work early and goes to the bank, where the staff informs him that depositing $2 million in cash will involve the permissions. David lies, claiming that the money will be the inheritance that he will get once his so-called uncle dies. Later that day, David digs into the box again, and takes all the bundles of cash into his home. He counts each one of them and stacks them up, adding up to more than $3 million. Subsequently he hides the money in the closet with a locked door. In the bathroom, David talks to himself in front of the mirror, arguing whether he should report what he found or not. David thinks that if he reports it, the authorities might think he assassinated the corpse, but then David's reflection in the mirror argues that he has no criminal records, and no relations with the dead, so he could still report it. Later that darkness, David wakes up after hearing some noises downstairs. He takes a baseball bat and seeks where the noise is coming from. Upon ensuring that no one is inside and outside his home, David returns inside and checks the $1 million. After doing so, David starts turning off the lights, when unexpectedly, he sees the corpse standing outside, staring right at him, causing him to freak out. David shortly runs outside with his baseball bat and checks his yard, only to panic after seeing that he has forgotten to bury the box. David lifts the lid and ensures that the dead man is certainly indeed dead. As the morning appears, dark circles underneath his eyes are evident, due to stress and lack of sleep from his paranoia about seeing the corpse. But there's more to come. At work, the boss informs him that his team needs to push the update with their work 2 days early, and if David complies in time, he will certainly get the promotion he's ever wanted. Later that day, David meets up with his friend at a local bar, and shares the pressure the boss has put on him, despite understanding he's going through a divorce. The friend notices the evident stress on David's expressions and body language, and this worries him. With many things over his plate, David snaps and leaves his best companion to deal with his already unstable life. As he comes home, David discovers shoe prints on his floor, which are not his shoe size. David instantly checks the closet, scared that whoever was in his home has already stolen the cash. Upon checking that the money remains untouched, David calls his daughter, who's hanging out with her boyfriend. She decides to go see him for an hour, since she's nervous about her dad. David subtly shares with his daughter about the money, claiming it's something related to work, and tells her he's worried that he might fail. The daughter reassures him that he will be fine, and leaves immediately after because she needs to get back to her boyfriend. David retrievals home and rechecks the money as a part of his routine, before cleaning up the shoe prints on his floor. David then hangs his suit for tomorrow's work. When he shuts off the light, David freaks out upon glimpsing a silhouette. He curses as he turns on the light and realizes it's just his suit, nothing more, and that he's just spooking himself out. But then David unexpectedly hears noises from his yard, so he takes a kitchen knife and comes outside. Nonetheless, when he sees his empty yard, David rapidly returns inside, thinking whoever messes with him has tricked him. David checks the closet, puts the $1 million in a trash bag, and buries the money with the corpse. Then he shuts the box with nails, to ensure that nobody's ever gonna take the money. The attending day, the boss checks on David regarding the game coding at work. As soon as the boss leaves his cubicle, David sneaks out and heads home, where he attempts to open the locked door within the closet using a drill. Nonetheless, it won't open. David's phone then rings. On the call, the landscaper informs him about when he'll be coming over to renovate his yard. Subsequently the call, David goes to his yard, and removes the nails around the box. David only takes the corpse's wallet and keys, hoping to discover some identity about the corpse, and maybe even open the locked door within the closet using the keys. He opens the fridge as he returns inside the house. But upon seeing nothing to eat, he closes it and walks away. When unexpectedly, he sees the corpse standing in his hallway, greeting David a hello before attacking him. David wakes up in a panic, as this is the first time he has had a nightmare. David sits by the bed, trying to calm down, when the corpse unexpectedly grabs his feet from underneath again. David opens his eyes, jumpy on the bed, as he wakes up for real this time. He shortly checks underneath his bed, but finds nothing. Later that morning, David calls in sick at work. After that, he takes a bundle of money from the box, before going to the hardware store to purchase things for his security. Later, David installs cameras inside and out of his house, and adds some lights to his yard. The video surveillance is in his room, and everything lights up outside with a single click of a remote. This way, he will see or discover whoever or whatever has been making the noises at night. Subsequently David uses the keys he found from the corpse, to open the locked door within a closet, revealing the house's basement. There, David discovers numerous corpses wrapped around plastic and duct tape. The corpses must have been hidden by the former owner of the house. He instantly leaves the basement reeking of dead bodies. He dials the police, but the $1 million money is stopping him from doing so. David obviously still wants the money to be his, despite discovering the creepy basement. Later that night, David wakes up as his security alarm starts blaring, because the corpse has risen from the grave again. He instantly turns on the lights outside, and sits by the surveillance, waiting for the corpse to appear again. Nonetheless, the power goes out while the thunder starts to rumble outside. David begins cursing, but fortunately, the power returns quickly. As the video surveillance returns, he almost falls out of his chair upon seeing the corpse standing from outside his room. The doorknob rattles as the corpse endeavors to get inside, but then the corpse starts banging his head on the door. The corpse notices the camera shortly after, so he slowly turns around and stares right into it, like he knows that David's watching him. After that, the corpse quickly goes downstairs. David shortly takes his baseball bat as he follows the corpse outside. But then he steps into a piece of a broken pot with his bare foot. He takes the piece out, and endures the pain with the rain pouring hard onto him. He walks to his yard, limping while frequently saying that he's gonna kill the corpse, which he obviously can't because it's already dead. When David reaches the box, he screams and curses at the corpse. David commands him to open his eyes, because he knows that the corpse is alive. But the corpse remains unmoved. The attending day, David wakes up inside the box hugging the corpse. He rapidly escapes from it. He returns inside, and cleans up himself as he's covered with mud. As he drives away, David sees the corpse standing not far away, staring at him, and instead of freaking out, he shortly gets out of his car. As the corpse sees this, he turns around and walks back to his grave, ignoring David's commands for him to stop. David cannot catch up to him because of his foot wound from last darkness. So he can only watch as the corpse stares into him, as if teasing him before lying in the box. This is the last straw for David, because he just saw the corpse alive with his own 2 eyes. So he decides to take a chainsaw, and use it on the corpse's body. David is moaning as he does this, not caring about the blood splattering everywhere. Even after this, he goes to work with a stinky smell, blood on his neck, and looking more horrendous than ever. The boss seems, and snaps at David regarding the gaming update. Nonetheless, David does not back down, and screams at the boss's face that he has everything under control. Nevertheless, the boss informs David that he has already transferred the coding to the coworker, making David mad. David curses at his boss, and because of this, the boss fires him, and lets the defense force him out of the building. On his way home, David stops at a garbage dump, and puts his work clothes there. As he drives, he displays some interesting behavior, like talking to himself, laughing for no reason, and celebrating about being unemployed now. As he reaches his driveway, he sees the landscaper's car. David rapidly gets out of his car, and tries to stop him from coming near the box. Nonetheless, the landscaper refuses to listen to him, and calls the police. David grabs the hammer and swings it to his face. Despite his pleas, David bludgeoned him to death. Realizing that he had just assassinated someone for the first time, he thinks rapidly, and takes the landscaper's corpse to the basement, just like the other unknown bodies that were already kept there. Subsequently David wraps the corpse from the box following, and dumps him into the basement too. The night has come, and David cleans the blood off of himself. He starts chatting to himself in the mirror again, as though he's exchanging a normal conversation with someone else. His mirror reflection manages to convince him that the landscaper was striving to take the money, which clearly wasn't the case. Later that night, David wakes up from the siren blaring again, so he checks the surveillance, and glimpses the corpse standing in his kitchen. David grabs his baseball bat as he walks downstairs, where he seizures his friend. David is hallucinating, and sees his friend as the corpse, so he doesn't know that he's attacking the wrong person. Despite the friend's desperate endeavor to snap David out of his madness, David kills him with the drill, thinking that the friend is also after the money. Subsequently, the gruesome scene, David also takes his friend's dead body to the basement, probably to wrap his body too. He returns upstairs in the morning, and sips his tea like nothing even transpired. He then takes the bag full of money from the box into the house. That day, David spends his time talking to the bag of money, as if it were a real person. He starts playing a game with it, and even watches a Climax 4 Explain movie, with the money beside him. The attending day, David wakes up from the knocking sound on his door. He checks it out, and sees that it's his daughter's boyfriend who has been knocking. He opens the door, and the boyfriend begins introducing himself. But out of nowhere, David swings the baseball bat at him. He does this a couple more times, before wrapping the conscious boyfriend in plastic and duct tape. He takes him to the basement, claiming that the boyfriend is also there for his money. Subsequently, the daughter comes to her dad's house. She immediately notices the stress and haggardness on her dad's face. But he reassures her that he's okay. She starts peeking for her boyfriend, and David tells her that he is in the basement. He takes his daughter down to the basement, where he knocks her unconscious with his baseball bat. The daughter wakes up eternities later, with her hands tied together with a chain to a tube. David appears seconds later, and notifies her that he knows she's there to take his money too. She breaks down into tears, as she pleads with her father to let her and her boyfriend go. She attempts to snap her dad out of his craziness, and reminds him that she's his own daughter. This appears to work, as David is starting to snap a little bit out of it. David begins claiming he knows how to fix everything, and leaves his daughter with her dying boyfriend and numerous other corpses down the basement. He wears a tuxedo while chatting to himself, trying to make himself feel better before going outside to the yard, carrying the bag of money. David drops the cash into the box, and pours gas all over it. But he can't seem to push himself to light the $1 million cash on fire. So as the rain pours hard, David resorts to the last thing he could do, to bury himself with the money, before his madness gets out of hand because of his greed. The movie terminates with David lying beside the bag of money, burying himself alive, and leaving his daughter trapped in the basement for God knows how long. The ending's message probably means that the corpse man might be the house's last owner, and also be a former victim who dug up his greed for the cash, but collapsed and turned into a mad guy due to the failure to overcome his guilt, which made him kill so numerous people, and brought them to the basement just like what David did. This implies that David is becoming the following corpse buried inside the box, not knowing the secrets of the house and the money, but it's sure that he will soon meet the following house owner, who will be trapped in the similar loop of digging up its greed and burying itself active after the collapse. And the end. If you are a lover of similar content like this, take a look at my distinct videos, and if you love it, please break the like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification horn, catch sight of you in the successive video.